session yesterday. How do you think the students took to the lesson, and what do you expect to see today?
Yeah, it's a little bit my fault. It's not doom and gloom. I mean, if you look, I'm not I like analysts, we're huge, but we've really made some strides analytically. So I want the players to understand that I know the stats sometimes. I think Gretzky said stats are for losers, which was pretty funny. He said that to me once, but I think things like we're third in the league, last 8 games in zone possession, and expected goals were like these are pretty good stats. So there is positives, but we have to shore up obviously some stuff on the ice during the games. So I want them to understand that they've made some strides. There's positives, and we got to get a couple individuals playing better. We know that, but as a team, I think the guys have been buying in.
This team still really has defensive issues, which we've seen all season long. We've seen it for a couple of seasons now. When you look at the team as a whole, is it a bigger task than you originally anticipated?
Well, I think we have to have more conviction in defending, but I think there's some times where I think we've done a nice job, and all of a sudden we're down 2-0, and there's and not to blame the goalies. There's only been 3 shots after 10 minutes. Like, we've done a good job there. So, but to me, it's the egregious mistakes. Like, it's if a guy makes a mistake, it's the second guy that makes even a worse mistake, and then it's in your net. So if we can shore up, yeah, it's a game of mistakes. People make mistakes. It's just the severity of it where we kind of we're on the wrong side of it.
How do you plan to use, if you're willing to share, how do you plan to use your goaltenders for the next few days? Because Denver says maybe backing up Saturday. So as far as Arthur's and Colin here, what are your plans?
Yeah, I got to make sure I get a couple of practices for Denver before we put him in. And he's come along great. So, obviously he's going to be in the net soon. And, yeah, I'd like to see the kid Seeloff play. Like, I heard a lot of good things about him, and it's probably a good time to get him in and see before Denver gets in here.
Tonight, you think Arthur's tonight? Or?
Yeah, he's got a good shot at playing. Just got to look at a couple of things, but yeah.
What do you hope to see out of Kuzmenko tonight? Any changes to his game specifically?
Well, I liked this first half of the game. I thought he had some energy. We have a game plan with him, and Sergei's here now. He's spent a lot of time in the video room with him, and I think it helped last game. He's obviously got to work on certain parts of his game. Like I said, it's a long term. It's not short term with him. We got to get him in good skating. Like, he's got to move his feet. He's really good with the puck, but he has to play without the puck, and that's something that his attitude's been great. He wants to, him and Sergei have been spending a lot of time together.
How much of bringing Sergei here was about the fact you've got a couple of Russian players? It's not just language, it's culture, the way they understand the game, the way they speak the game. Was that part of the factor too?
Yeah, for sure. Sergei's he's a culture classy, high character guy. And that we have a couple of Russian guys really helps with him here. But just our defense is his whole way he approaches things. And, I think I've seen some improvement in some guys because of the guys. And it's small sample size. I mean, they've only been here a couple of weeks, Sergei and Footy. But they, just the way they teach, it's a very positive style.
JT and Luke both talked about defense being a mindset. It's something that you want to have to do. You've played the game. You've been alongside teammates who either wanted to play defense or not. Are you trying to reprogram some guys here to think this is the way that we have to play, and are they capable of playing that way?
Well, you can't win, without good defense, and that's I use the word conviction. We're in our spots, but there's a way of, we have a lot of good teachers here, and technique and all that stuff, but there's also the battle and the will, to squash a cycle. We got to squash some more cycles. The wingers up top got to be a little bit more straight line, stop and start, and you got to block some shots. Like, it seems like we're getting a lot of our shots blocked. We're not blocking enough shots up top, and I think that's a little bit of a will and stop and start game. That's his habits. That's just, whether it's months and months doing the same thing, it's going to take a while to make guys understand a stop and start game. Will make the other stuff on the other end more fun to play because you have the puck more. So I think we just got to have and they're right. We have to have a little bit of a better conviction when we do defend.
I know it's only been a few games and there is a language barrier, as you mentioned, but have you been able to establish a connection with Kuzmenko at all, and can you describe what that's been like?
Great. He's been in my office the last 3-4 days, especially with Sergei here. He's got the mark route. He's asking questions. Where should I go in these positions? And that's what I like. He's asking questions. So there's really no language barrier in the sense you can do it other ways, and plus Sergei's here. So And he's not bad at English. He's starting to learn some of our terminology.
And finally, new coach, new system, it's a transition. Can you talk to me a little bit about your tolerance when it comes to growing pains? I imagine you don't want to see the result that you saw last game, but can you talk to me about your tolerance?
Well, I got to be careful because as bad as the says 6-1, I mean, there were some good things, that power play had. We had in there in for 4 minutes. We missed an empty net. We had 3 or 4 crossbar posts. I mean, that's the reality. If a couple go in, it's 3-3. Maybe confidence level comes in some guys. So you got to be careful. I don't think it was as bad as the score. But listen, at the end of the day, the results do matter. But just as long as it doesn't hamper guys get frustrated, it hampers the process.